Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The power of the NFL is amazing. Let's go behind the scenes to More Sports and Les-Levine just yesterday at around 2 p.m. My producer, Mike Bacon, and I are making fun of the NFL's schedule reveal. Everybody knows who is going to be on the schedule, we just didn't know when they would play. And speculation runs rampant. Some fans are acting like this is the Super Bowl, and what fun we had with that. Then an hour later, Mike comes and says, we can start the show an hour later and reveal the schedule, then have fans call in with their thoughts. What do you think? And I said, heck yes. So here we are, doing the show live from 7 to 8. Dan-labbe and Dave Bacon are here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use Presque Isle Downs and
right? And of course, the Browns and the NFL will find out not only who they're going to play, which they already knew, but when they're going to play them. Dan-labbe is with us from cleveland.com, and of course, Dave Bacon. Big night. We made fun of it, but here we are doing it, and I'm sure people will be happy that we are.
Yeah, without question. It always, people want to know how many national televised games are there. Is there going to be a Sunday night game, a Monday night game?
Thanksgiving?
Exactly. With the Cowboys on the schedule, that's one of the ones that historically goes that way. So, yeah, it's one of those things that generates interest year-round in the NFL.
Dan-labbe knows this as well as anybody. First of all, hi, Dan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. You know that the NFL, when they want stuff to get out, they find a way to get it out. When they don't want it to get it out, they find a way not to get it out. This has been a pretty well-kept secret so far.
It really has. I remember last year we were seeing leaks, real and fake, all over the place of this schedule. But the NFL has done a nice job of keeping this one under wraps. But they've also done a great job of taking advantage of this lull in sports. We had the draft that they did virtually, and now they're going to own this schedule release night, which is such a weird night because we already know who the Browns are playing. We're just going to get dates and times for it, but people just eat this stuff up, and the NFL is certainly not going to miss an opportunity to own the sports.
Yeah, I don't know that it would be a different reaction to the fans out there if they didn't know who they were playing. Maybe that would add to the reaction, but you got to stretch out 12 months of excitement to do that. Dave, well, I'll ask both of you, to Dave and Dan. We'll have the schedule, we'll have the dates, we'll have the primetime games if there are any. Of course, you have to have a Thursday night game, but of course, you don't know if teams are good or not good. You won't know till they actually start playing, and there's always a team or two that's a surprise. But if you knew who the better teams were, would you rather have if you're the Browns, would you rather have a tough schedule, first 4-6 games, or a weaker schedule? Start with Dave.
Much rather have a weaker schedule at the front end of it, especially with a new head coach, new defensive system, new offensive system. Right. And based on the fact that there was so much hype last year, and the beginning was so bad, you want that out of everybody's mind.
Again, Dan, you don't know for sure if the team's going to be good or not, but if you did know, what would you rather have?
I'm kind of with Dave on this. I think I'd rather have the easier schedule first, and a lot of that is based off what happened last year. They got off to that 2-6 start, and they just couldn't keep their heads above water. They get blown out by Tennessee, and you slip up like that against one of the teams maybe you should have beaten. That was before Tennessee really started playing well. Now you've got to beat the really good teams on the schedule. I'd rather have kind of some easier games early on, especially with this. We don't know what this offseason is going to look like. So we don't know how ready this team is going to be if they start the season on time. So I'd like some earlier games, some easier games early.
Yeah, the other side of it is if, let's say we're talking about the first 6 games and you split them, go 3-3, and then you get what is perceived to be the easier part, you can make some headway at that point.
Yeah, that's true. And you do want to be a team that finishes strong. Seattle has sort of made a living doing that, and other teams have made a living doing that. But I think this team, just from the Browns fan psychological standpoint, and just to support this head coach and this new staff, to get off to a good start, I think is really important.
Dan, I know you keep closer to this than we do, but there's been a variance here as these guys are coming. You went through the mock draft, now you're getting into the schedules and all that, and all of a sudden it seems like some of the people making predictions about teams and their success or lack of it this year, Brown's starting to get a little headway there with some maybe not as popular as last year's choices, but it looks like people are coming around to the Browns' way of thinking right now.
I think there's a lot of intrigue about Kevin-Stefanski and what Baker Mayfield can do in this offense. And you still have all those weapons and all those guys that had everybody excited about this team a year ago. I think what everybody's hoping is that maybe the coaching was such a mess last year and things were such a mess behind the scenes that you've cleared all of that out. You have that alignment you've been seeking. You added some nice players in the draft and filled some holes. That everything should sort of come together and put that 6-10 season.
Dan-Orlovsky, a former NFL quarterback, is thinking along the lines of Baker Mayfield having a very good year this year. Let's take a look at what he's thinking when he thinks about Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Well, until when we get that, we will get that. But until that point, what do you expect from Baker Mayfield this year, Dave? I mean, you can't say Beckham will have a great year and Baker won't. They go hand in hand.
Well, what I would say is Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have put all the pieces in place to give Baker Mayfield every opportunity to do what everybody thought he would do last year. You know, the offensive line, they kind of plugged the two tackles with 10th pick in the draft and the top right tackle available in free agency. That was a big problem last year. The other thing you did is you went out and you got him a tight end, which this system likes to throw to. So if Baker Mayfield doesn't have a good year this year, it's pretty much on him.
All right, here's Dan-Orlovsky and what he has to say, and we'll take a look at it right there. I'll say this again. Baker's going to have a big year, perfect scheme. They fixed the holes that they had. They'll have multiple tight ends on the field, and the offensive line will play like an accordion as expanding the passing lanes off of play action. So that's what he's expecting. Is dan-labbe, is that what you expect also?
You hope so. And the other way to read that tweet is sort of piggybacking off what Dave was saying is there's no excuses now for Baker Mayfield. He's got everything he needs. The coaching is in place. The system is in place. We think this is a system that fits his strengths better with bigger personnel, more play action. That's where he's always been better. So it's kind of all on him. If he has a bad season, there's no excuses. It's because he didn't do what he needed to do and he didn't get the job done. So that's really kind of how that tweet reads. It's obviously very positive about Baker, but it's also saying, hey, if you're going to do this, now's your chance.
One of the reasons that Freddie got the job was he was the buddy-buddy system with Baker. That's not going to be the case, but there is going to be hopefully a mutual respect for it. You think that Stefanski will set the law down early on his relationship with Baker, or do you think they're going to wait to work it out?
I don't think he's going to be afraid to make sure that Baker knows what's expected of him. And I think bringing in Case Keenum is a step in that direction. And not that Case Keenum is going to come here and win you a Super Bowl or something like that, but he is a guy that can play if they need him to play. And he's a guy that can kind of help Baker along, too, as his backup. But you have a capable backup quarterback now. I think that sends a message to Baker Mayfield. And look, Kevin Stefanski doesn't take this job if he doesn't like Baker Mayfield, but he also knows that his job is to win football games, and he's got a very impatient owner. So I don't think he's going to hesitate to make sure that Baker Mayfield knows the expectations.
216-575-0403 if you want to talk about the Browns situation. And once the schedule comes out, we certainly want to hear what you have to say. Dan-Labbe wrote an article about how the CBA impacts Baker Mayfield and the potential fifth-year option. We'll check that out when we come back. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers. Winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. Schedule will be released at 7:30 tonight. We'll be here to take your reaction. Dave Bacon along with Dan-Labbe, More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today, former manager of the Oakland A's, among other teams, Dick Williams. Johnny Unitas, one of the all-time greatest quarterbacks. Fill up with groceries, 1947. Sean Marion, Alex Smith. Heard today Alex Smith has had 17 operations in the last couple of years. And former Browns kicker Zane Gonzalez, 1995 was his birth year. All celebrating it on May 7th, 2020. 216-575-0403. Dave Bacon with us. Dan-labbe. Dan is going to take off to do his work for cleveland.com in a little bit. But you did write a column on the CBA and how it impacts Baker-Mayfield and some of the other potential fifth-year options. Dan, what is the gist of your column?
Well, the fifth-year option is changing a little bit. Not so much with the guys the Browns drafted in 2017, so it doesn't apply to Myles Garrett and David Njoku. How much money they make is based on where they were picked. But next year, when the Browns make decisions on Denzel Ward and Baker Mayfield, those guys have a chance to make themselves a little money this season, because if Denzel Ward makes his second Pro Bowl, he's going to be worth the franchise tag for his fifth-year option in 2022. Baker Mayfield, if he makes his first Pro Bowl, he's going to get the full transition tender for quarterback. So there's a few $1 million out there for these guys to make if they're able to make it to the Pro Bowl. They've both reached the playing time incentives they need to hit those numbers. But the Pro Bowl is big for these guys, and it complicates the decision a little bit. I don't think there's a situation, unless Baker Mayfield is just a disaster this year, where they would turn that option down. It's still pretty low risk. But it does get a little more expensive than maybe it used to be.
Yeah. Is it all or nothing in Baker's case? Or is there some midway point?
There really isn't. When it comes to that fifth-year option, and the other change, of course, is it becomes fully guaranteed now, too. It used to just be guaranteed for injury, like it is for Garrett and Njoku. But starting with that 2018 class, it's fully guaranteed when the Browns pick it up. So it's a little complicated, but the reality is, if you have a guy that you believe can still become a quarterback, or if you want to just have a little more control over the situation, think about Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston, and of course they've since moved on from him. It's really rare that if you like a quarterback, you wouldn't pick up that fifth-year option if you at least want to see what he can do. Mitch Trubisky is obviously an exception to that rule.
Gary Davenport of the Bleacher Report talked about Beckham and his struggles last year. Dave, you agree with this basically, because we're hearing 2 or 3 sides to the OBJ situation, and a lot of it all of a sudden seems fashionable to criticize Freddie Kitchens even more.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear midway through last year that the Browns didn't have an identity offensively. And that comes back to the guy that was calling the plays and the head coach, and that's Freddie Kitchens. How can you have a guy like Nick-Chubb, second leading rusher in the NFL, and not be a run-first team, not be able to – you couldn't tell me what last year's offense was. So I think it's absolutely right. It was like, oh, boy, we haven't gotten the ball to Odell in a little bit. We need to get him the ball. And by the time you got to that, everybody was there. Instead of nothing set anything up in that Browns offensive system, and Beckham suffered because of it.
All right, so Davenport goes on to say they can be attributed to 2 things: injuries and the sad state of the Cleveland offense under Freddie Kitchens. Kitchens' play calling was a mishmash of predictable, puzzling, and putrid, the 3 Ps. That led to one of the 2 scenarios for Beckham. Either the Browns forced the ball into coverage in his direction, or he was on the side of a milk carton. That's rather harsh.
But I think it's accurate.
I didn't say that. I just said it's rather harsh.
Yeah. I mean, Gary Davenport hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, he sure did. So he goes on to say, Dan and to Dave, the stage is set for 2020 for Odell Beckham to show all the hullabaloo surrounding the arrival on the shores of Lake Erie wasn't misplaced so much as it was delayed. The dominoes couldn't be lined up better for Beckham. All he needs is to knock the first one over. We know he can. We've seen that what he can do when healthy and on top of his game, and just with average quarterback play and not much of a supporting cast around him in New York, he was one of the hardest players to defend in the NFL. It's going to be interesting when the schedule comes out. You got 2 games with the New York. You got games with the Jets and the Giants. I believe he'll be fired up for those games.
Yeah, I think both of them are in New York as well.
Yeah.
Both of them are on the road for the Browns. So he goes back to New York twice. The other thing that this kind of reinforces, to kind of dovetail back to Dan's thing, is they've put everything in place to find out, is Baker-Mayfield the guy he was 2 years ago, or is he the guy he was last year? And they need to get that answer, because if he's the guy that he was last year, I don't know that you pick up that 5th-year option.
Maybe not. All right, so both of you, if I ask you, it's going to be a combination question of Beckham and Baker. They have good years or bad years? Dan, we'll start with you. I don't think we can play this game by saying a little of each.
Well, I'm leaning towards good years, but I think, when I read what was said on Bleacher Report there, I don't disagree with it, but I do think everybody needs to be a little careful, and the players need to be a little careful, especially that they don't go into this season thinking, oh, this was all Freddie Kitchens' fault. This was all on Freddie. Everything's going to be different now because Freddie's gone. Because at the same time last year, you did have Joe Bitonio, one of the leaders of this team after the Arizona game, questioning guys' preparation. Not the coaches, but the players. So they've got to make sure that they're looking in the mirror too, and not just blaming it all on the past staff. They're looking in the mirror and trying to figure out what they need to do better. And that starts with Baker-Mayfield. But I think that they're going to have a good year. I think the system is in place, and I think the weapons are in place.
Dan, good
for
year.
he and Odell.
Dave, good year, bad year together?
I think they're due to have a really good year, actually. Odell hasn't played with a guy that has Baker's arm strength to get the ball down the field. Eli Manning was a lot of things. A strong-arm quarterback wasn't really one of them.
Right. All right, we're going to come back. Dan's going to be with us for a short segment here, and we'll set it up. We'll set it up and get you with the Browns, the schedule, and we'll pick how many wins out of that. Are we going to do that? I can't believe we're going to do that. We'll do it when we come back, though. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations, east, west, and south, as well as the website, which is northeastfactorydirect.com. Alex is at every store each and every day. You can catch him, or you can call him on his cell phone. 216-288-1808 is the number to call. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. Dave, how come gas has been so cheap lately, but there's no place to go?
Supply and demand.
Obviously. 216-575-0403. It's a special edition of More Sports and Less Levine, getting set for the schedule that will be released. We'll have that in about 10 or 12 minutes, and we'll give you the opportunity to respond to that. Dave, you said earlier that the Browns should have been a running team with the great runners that they have, and the score.com set up a list of the top running back groups according to the score.com. Let's take a look at what they have to say about the chances of the Cleveland Browns. They've got the Browns number 2 in the entire NFL. San Francisco is first, followed by the Browns, the Ravens, Denver, and Minnesota.
Yeah, the 49ers is, I mean, it's interesting. I know they have Tevin Coleman. I know they have Raheem Mostert, who, was a Brown, is a speed back guy. They traded Matt Breida, so they traded one of their really good running backs to the Dolphins. It's tough to have a 1-2 combination like Nick-Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And, again, they didn't have Hunt for the first 8 games because of that suspension. And I was surprised at how good of a blocker and how good he did some of the little things other than run the football and catch the football. He made a noticeable difference when he was in there.
And we also heard from a lot of his ex-teammates what a good team player he was, and that shows it exactly.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that offense is going to look, that run game is going to look a whole lot different because you now have a fullback as well. Don't forget, they went out and got, Andy Janovich, pretty good fullback that they traded for because that is what the offense that Kevin Stefanski run dictates. That's going to make Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, when he's back there, that much more effective.
Well, Nick Chubb talked today about what went wrong in 2019. He said it on the Jim Rome show. Let's check that out and see what he had to say. Chubb says, I said it before, I think we thought we were a lot better than we were. We thought it was going to be, it's just going to happen for us. We didn't actually put in the work, and we got this guy and this guy, they were straight. So we didn't need to actually work. And it's going to happen for us. We have all the talent in the world, but we didn't put the work into it. I hate to hear that. It's one thing you don't want to hear about a team.
Well, that's kind of what Dan was referring to when he said Joel Bitonio was questioning the preparation. But again, that comes back to the coaching staff. I mean, how can you be a guy that's in charge of a team and not realize they're not working hard? I mean, that's pretty evident. It just goes back to the point that, the guy they chose was ill-prepared for the job they put him in.
Right. Well, but on the other hand, he's got assistant coaches who should know that also.
Did he empower him to do anything?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Apparently not. All right, the schedule release coming up soon. Dave, we know who the home teams will be. You know who the away teams will be. What we don't know is the special times, Monday night game, Sunday night game. We don't know that yet. We will know that in a couple of minutes. You, of course, have Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh home and away. That takes up 6 of the games.
Yep.
Then the away games will be Dallas, Jacksonville, New York Jets, New York Giants, and Tennessee. And the home games out of conference will be Houston, then Indiana, then got to get used to it, Las Vegas Raiders, Philadelphia, and Washington. From all reports, early on they had talked about divisional games being placed further back just in case it doesn't start when they hope it starts. And then they what leaked out first was Washington and Philadelphia. We'll find out if that in fact is true. But if it is, that shows that they're not doing it the way they talked about doing it.
I think basically what they have to be able to do is there has to be a logical way to contract weeks out of the schedule. So that would,
maybe 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah, or just week 8 is now gone and everything moves back.
Right.
You have to make sure that there are no mixing, divisional games with out-of-conference type games is the main thing. The other thing is, keep in mind, Indianapolis now has Phillip Rivers as a quarterback. So that's, as I was looking at that, the Colts are a team that'll be interesting, and, they're one of the home games, and I think quarterback play held them back a season ago. So it'll be interesting to see Phillip Rivers with the Indianapolis Colts.
And the way the AFC North breaks down, you don't know about Roethlisberger right now, but if
Correct.
he doesn't play, you've got 3 new quarterbacks.
Right.
Starting Burrow down in Cincinnati and Rivers, as you say, at Indianapolis. And,
right. And the other thing is, and I alluded to this a little bit earlier, NFL has now seen what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson for 16, 17 weeks. Let's see, and they've had a lot of time to go over that and come up with how they're going to stop this. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period. He's got to throw the ball better than he did. Great athlete, played quarterback much better than I thought he did. Let's see what year 2 looks like with Lamar Jackson.
And you also get the sense, it happened in the Browns game at Baltimore, and it happened in the playoff game for them, that if they get far behind, that offense is tough to come back from.
Right.
Or come back with.
Now, having said that, their defense got a whole lot better.
Yes,
they did a really nice job. And they added Dobbins. So,
by the way, when I mentioned earlier about Phillip Rivers, I wasn't saying he was in the AFC North. I'm saying he's a new quarterback for a team that the Browns will be facing.
At home.
At home, and of course Lamar Jackson, the quarterback at Baltimore. All right, when we come back, we should have a look at the release of the schedule. We'll get your comments. You want to line your call up now? You can do that, 216-575-0403. You can explore your interests, find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future at Tri-C, which offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. We're halfway through. More Sports and Les-levine continues. Dave Bacon with us. Our thanks to Dan-labbe. But Dan will be with us on Monday night. We'll go over it even more. That'll be on Monday right here on More Sports and Les-levine, exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan-labbe, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a football insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. On May 7th, 1957, Herb Score hit in the face, actually in the eye. Line drive hit by the New York Yankees' Gil McDougall. Score had won 36 games in his first 2 years in the major leagues. It's just incredible when you think what his career would have been.
Yeah, and I actually had the chance to interview him about that, and he would never say that was the reason why. He said in rehabbing, he developed some really bad habits, and he hurt his arm, and he said, I just became a lousy pitcher, which anybody else that you talk to that was around it doesn't say that, but Herb Score would never use that.
Ted Williams said he was the toughest pitcher he ever had to face.
Mel Harder, Al Rosen, both said he'd have been a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
When you think of that play, line drive by McDougall, it hit Score in the face on the right side, and that ball on one bounce went to Al Smith, the third baseman. Yeah. Can you imagine the velocity on that?
Yeah.
And by the way, Al Smith threw him out at first base.
Yeah. No. It was hit ridiculous. I mean, in order for not a glove to get on it, it had to be hit ridiculously.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dave Bacon is with us. Dan-Labbe was with us. He'll be here also on Monday night. We'll talk about, every week we're getting closer to finding out if there's going to be something happening. Nobody's denying anything, so they're obviously in deep talks about this, and baseball is also.
Right. Well, and again, what's happening is they're gradually opening up, and they have to see what happens with that and how you're able to sustain retail opening and those kind of things opening, and that will dictate, what happens with sports. Won't be any fans in the stands, so to speak.
All right, Dave, we have the first 4 weeks for the Cleveland Browns. Here you go. Week number 1, Sunday, opening up with the Ravens. How about that? So that shoots that theory of non-divisional opponents. Then the Bengals are at home. That's on a Thursday night game.
So they have four-day turnaround, week 1.
Turnaround, yeah.
So much for that easing into it.
They've rested so far. Then Sunday they're at home against the Redskins, and then they go to the Cowboys on October 4th, which would be fourth week of the season.
And again,
I'm surprised that the Browns and Ravens is playing on opening night.
Not necessarily. And then here you go with the weeks 5 through 8. And again, what I think you're seeing a couple of weeks bunched together where they're playing NFC teams, and then they go back and it's back into the division.
All right, let's go to week 5 through 8. On Sunday, 10-11, you've at home against the Colts. Then you go to the Steelers on week 6, and that's a Sunday also. It doesn't say Sunday night. I'm assuming it will if it is a Sunday night. Then week 7 is a Sunday, and that is at the Bengals. Then the Raiders are here in Cleveland. That'll be on Sunday, November 1st. So there you go, halfway through the season. Anything strike you there? Well, you got back-to-back home division games.
And the same thing that you had weeks 1 and 2.
Right.
So they're grouping the division games together in this schedule release.
Interesting.
The other thing is you're done with the Bengals week 7.
Yeah. All right.
Which is good because keep in mind rookie quarterback Joe Burrow.
Good point. Week 9 will be the bye week, so that you're getting halfway through. You go exactly halfway through.
Yeah, it's a very good spot to get a bye week as well.
All right, here we go. Weeks 9 through 13. Sunday, at home against the Texans. Sunday, the 22nd, at home against the against the Eagles. Then they go to the Jaguars on the 29th, and the Titans. That'll be on Sunday, the 12th. So far, no Monday night game, and we don't know about the Sunday games. Could be a Sunday night game in that batch that has been already put out there.
And they do get their Thursday night game, which everybody has a Thursday night game, Thursday night, week 2, which is going to be interesting. You know, new head coach, new defensive scheme. You get 4 days to game plan between weeks 1 and 2.
Well, if you don't win game 1, that makes it an awful long week and a half.
Yep.
Getting ready for the Bengals. We should have the rest of the schedule coming up shortly. And what are we missing? We're missing a Pittsburgh home game, right?
Yep.
And, well, here it is. Week 14, Monday Night Football at home against the Ravens. How about that?
Wow. So you get the Ravens to open it, and then you get Monday night at home. And then the interesting thing is you got an either-or. So that's got to be a Saturday when they have a Saturday game. So the Jets may be flexed to a Saturday because last 2 weeks, don't forget, they go to the Saturday games.
Right, and you got 2 games in a row on the road, both in New York, in the same stadium.
And you finish with the Steelers.
And you finish at home against the Steelers on the 3rd. Wow.
Well,
all right, your reaction.
It's interesting. It lines up. The biggest concern that I would have is you go Sunday to Thursday, so you've got the quick turnaround.
You surprised there's no Sunday night game, or we don't actually know that yet?
No, not really. You got a Monday night game, and then you got a Thursday game. You know they had the primetime games where they were all over the board with last year. You know
they just couldn't get enough of Cleveland.
Right, and you know they're not as highly hyped because of the 6-10 record. You have other storylines. They've moved on. You know, Tom Brady in Tampa Bay is now a national story.
So you open up in the division against the Cincinnati.
Right.
And then
there's 2 weeks where it looked like they were NFC games. So it'll be interesting to see, is that across the board? So if you need to collapse those, you collapse the 2 games in weeks 3 and 4.
Yeah, whatever. If they have to get rid of some games, at least it doesn't mess up the equity of who you're playing and for playoff purposes. Although they're adding 2 playoff spots anyway, so I don't know what that matters. All right, go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see because you know, if they in fact do have to collapse games, there is no balance in the schedule then. You know, there's going to be a competitive advantage one way or another if you end up collapsing games.
Well, there you have it. Is it much ado about nothing, or was it well worthwhile?
Well, the Browns got a Monday night game against the Ravens, and it's very interesting because they put the Ravens as the opener and then a Monday night game.
Right.
So it's kind of telling you the schedule makers are intrigued by Browns-Ravens matchup.
And the Pittsburgh game is on January 3rd at home, the Pittsburgh home game.
Right.
For the Browns. So, you know.
Hoping it means something.
Yeah, or hoping it doesn't, hoping Pittsburgh's already long gone.
The Browns haven't played a meaningful final regular season game in a long, long time.
So last night on the show, the big discussion was whether they get the Thursday Thanksgiving game against Dallas. Now that's totally out of the question, but there's some intriguing matchups and when they'll be there.
Yeah. The other thing is keep in mind Sunday night games later in the season can be flexed and decided, you know, as long as they give them a couple weeks' notice.
Right.
It's interesting that the Giants game against the Browns is that late in the season, and if the Giants are decent, that would very well be one that I would expect might be flexed to Sunday night.
Yeah, you would think. 216-575-0403 if you want to talk about it. Dave Bacon with us, and Northeast Factory Direct is with us also. East, West, and South, they got those locations, plus northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, well, they got the word when restaurants can open. We'll give you the word when they actually will. Can't wait for that to happen. They deserve your support, and like to see you help them out, as well as all the local restaurants. We're looking forward to some activity here, and maybe we can make things happen. At Sokolowski's University Inn, Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant located in Fremont, established in 1923. We'll come back in a moment with Dave Bacon. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's check out this date in Les-Levine history and the week in review. 1959, the Chavez-Levine wiffle ball season is threatened with cancellation unless the Levine boys receive their allowances in full. Finally happened. We caved. All right, then we have this one as the week in review. May 4th, 1977. Les did a remote from Shula's Steakhouse on Rockside, and the coach said that he was not interested in getting back into the game of football. A week later, he was introduced as part of an ownership group to buy the Browns with Larry and Charles Dolan and Bill Cosby. Remember that?
He thought you meant coaching.
Oh, yeah. He did apologize to me. He says, I had to tell you that. All right, we continue on. Les gets accepted to Ohio State. This is in 1964. He wants to try out for the best damn band in the land in the hopes that he can dot the O on Saturday afternoons. Les wasn't good in math or spelling very well. A friend of Les in 1977, who is not a baseball fan, says, what could be more boring than a game without any hits by a team? It's his perfect game. 1, 2, 3. What good is that? 216-575-0403. Let's go to BP. BP standing by in Pepper Pike. Hey, BP.
How you doing tonight?
Good. How about you?
Doing well. Thanks for giving us the Browns schedule. I appreciate it. You're the only, first stop shop I'm looking at here. So I got it right from you guys, which is nice.
Well, I hope we're right.
I look at the schedule, I think the Browns, it's going to be like a 500 season for most of the season. Then towards the end of the year, that's when they'll, get above 500.
What makes you
back-to-back road trip at the New York teams, which is weird.
What makes you think they'll be 500 in the first part of the season?
When you really look at the schedule, at Baltimore is a tough game to start the season. Then, Cincinnati and Washington are winnable games. Then they go to Dallas. Dallas will be heavily favored in that game. So, ideally, you're looking at 2-2. Indianapolis, that could be a win. Then they go to Pittsburgh. That could be a loss. So, like I said, you win one, lose one, win one, lose one. But
what concerns me a little bit is if you're at Baltimore, and if you lose that game, and you'll be the underdog, probably by about 7 points, I would think.
Yes.
But then you got to wait a week and a half because your next game is a Thursday night game.
Oh, it's only 4 days.
Oh, it's only 4 days.
Yeah, you don't get a week off. No, that's even. To me, that's even worse. Yeah. You got to come right back 4 days, and the one advantage I would say is you are going against Joe Burrow. You're going against a rookie quarterback, but yeah, 4 days. And that's
to me, this whole schedule. It's like I'm kind of people were talking about we were going to play Dallas on Thanksgiving. Well, obviously that didn't happen. We missed it by 2 months. And
yeah, but that wasn't anybody credible.
A lot of up and they'll win one and lose one. There's some tough teams here. Obviously, like Houston, the Eagles. Those will be tough games to win. At Tennessee will be a tough game to win.
You got to play them
Baltimore will be tough.
sometime. You got to play them sometime.
To me, the biggest, most curious thing about this whole schedule is back-to-back games on the road at the New York Giants and the Jets. So they'll be on the road for 2 weeks. Probably just stay in New York the whole time.
I would assume. And then you come back and you play Pittsburgh for the final game. Listen, everybody has,
so when they do that road trip, they'll play Baltimore before they head to New York. So that'll be, a huge game.
But everybody basically has the same schedule, so it works itself out. I am kind of surprised they have back-to-back on the road in New York the last 2 out of the last 3 weeks. That's kind of surprising to me.
Hopefully they'll still be alive. There'll be something to talk about. It'll be exciting if the Browns are still in it with all the media in New York and ESPN and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you wonder how Odell-Beckham's going to play.
Let's say Sam Darnold and the Jets are good.
Yeah.
That could be exciting. If playing the Jets.
You got to wonder how Odell Beckham is going to do with the 2 games in New York.
Yeah, and they finished. Keep in mind that the Jets drafted 11th, the Giants drafted 4th, and the Steelers, they played a lot better than you thought they would without Roethlisberger. But there are worse things than finishing with those 3 teams as the last 3 games on your schedule. I mean, there's a reason they're picking right around the Browns for a reason.
Sure, but you don't see too often 2 games back-to-back in the same city.
No. Well, because it can't happen in too many places.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
All right, BP. I don't want to ask you how many wins you expect. It's a little too early for that.
You can ask me. We're good.
All right,
friends.
go ahead. What's the record?
10-6. But
wait, whoa, David, you take a 10-6?
Yeah, I'd take 10-6. I think somewhere between 8-8 and 10-6. I was a little more optimistic than that last year, but you got to temper it because they just haven't won.
I think if it's 10-6, most of us will be happy with it.
Yeah, and 10-6 with an additional playoff team in each conference means they're right in the middle of the playoff hunt.
Right.
And that's being pretty optimistic with, no practicing right now. Yep. We've got a brand new coach, all new coordinators. Sure. So that's being pretty optimistic.
Yeah, there's no real reason to pick them for that, but what the heck? We're 3-4 months away from the beginning of it.
Well, I think what it is they underachieved so much last year. You think
be careful out there.
From what I've heard of the new coaching staff, I like them. We'll see. It hadn't translated into anything yet.
No, it hasn't. BP.
One last thing, guys,
ahead.
if I may mention that when you look at it, we don't play Baltimore at home and Pittsburgh at home until the end of the season. So that's why I say they're going to get off to a fairly average start. But if the Browns are up to it, they can finish out the season with quite a few wins. But hopefully, again, they could survive the beginning part of the season where it's going to be a little bit rocky.
Right. All right, BP. Stay safe out there. Thanks as always for joining in.
Take care, guys.
Okay, you too. All right. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. We'll chat. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, BP's line just got open, 216-575-0403. If you can't catch us from when we do it live, which is normally 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the other 23 hours of the day, and then the weekend, you can call us 216-200-6650. It is the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Call anytime. Leave us a message. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, tomorrow night it's Dave Baker with the Weekend Winners Edition. Doug Maurice will join the show. What else do you have tomorrow?
Talk a little bit more about the schedule. We'll see if we can prompt good old Doug to pick 12, 13 wins again this year.
And that's just in the first 12 or 13 games.
Yeah, we'll give him a little bit of grief about that. Had 12 wins last year. He was halfway right.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll come up with it. I meant this year and last year together were 12 wins,
well,
that kind of thing.
He had 12 wins last year,
Yeah.
so to make it even, he needs 16-0 this year.
We'll also take a look at rosters. You'd be surprised how few of the Browns' projected starters are actually drafted by the team. And we'll also take a look at some of those fifth-year options on rookies.
All right, that'll be tomorrow night from 6 until 7 right here on cleveland.com. And Monday night we'll be back. Dan-labbe will be with us, and we'll get his perspective as to what he's thought about over the weekend and this schedule. And of course, do you think most people are optimistic right now?
I would think so. I mean, everything that you've heard and everything that you've seen from the new regime, you know, everybody who's been through this has been like, let's hold off. Free agency came out. Okay, that was pretty good. The draft came out. All right, they did some good things. So I think the optimism has been based on, you know, taking a wait-and-see approach and liking what you've seen so far.
All right, this is a special edition of More Sports and Les-Levine. It's special because of the unveiling of the schedule, and here it is. Sunday, 9:13 at Baltimore to start it off. Then a couple of days later, we'll be at home against the Bengals. Joe Burrow will make his Ohio debut, I would guess. I don't know what his would have to be.
Yeah.
He can't be playing Cincinnati the first week.
Although the Bengals might try that. They're guaranteed to win.
An inter-squad game. Week 3 is Sunday the 27th, so it's a week and a half after the Bengals game. It's the Redskins at home. Then the Cleveland travels to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. That is on October 4th, which is a Sunday. Then we go this way. In the week 5 through 8, it's all Sundays, starting against the Colts at home, at the Steelers on October 18th. On the 25th, it's at the Bengals. So 2 division games in a row.
That Colts game is a 4:25 start. That's the only Sunday game that's not at the 1 o'clock window initially. And again, as the season goes on, they can flex that out. But that one is scheduled as a 4:25 start.
NBC will not have Sunday Night Football involving the Browns.
Correct.
All right, then you have the Steelers on the 18th, the Bengals 2 games in a row in the division on the 25th. Then they are at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. That'll be on the 6th of December, week 13. No, that's the Titans. All right, now we go to week 10. It's Sunday the 15th of November. That's against the Texans at home against the Eagles on the 22nd. The 29th, it'll be at Jacksonville. And then the 6th of January, it'll be the 6th of December will be at the Titans. And then we continue on.
The Jaguars is the Thanksgiving weekend game.
Correct. So we finish it off the final 4 weeks. It's at the Ravens, at the Giants, or at home against the Ravens, rather, at the Giants, at the Jets, and then at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's an interesting last 4 games of the season.
Yeah, you know, the Monday night game, so that one's on ESPN. And then the Jets could end up being a Saturday game. Remember the last couple of weeks?
Right.
They have, I think it's 2, sometimes 3 games on Saturday. One of them usually in prime time, so that could be another one that ends up in prime time.
Okay, so the NFL isn't, I don't want to say they're not fooled, but they haven't jumped on the Browns bandwagon like they did last year.
Well, because, I mean, last year, for lack of a better term, John Dorsey was playing fantasy football. He went out and he signed Odell-Beckham, and you got Kareem Hunt, and you got all these big names.
A lot of people bought into it.
Right. Heck, I did.
Yeah,
I'll buy it. But, you know, the line didn't do what it needed to do. They weren't prepared. They laid an egg against the 49ers on national TV, And then you had, the whole thing with Myles Garrett and the Steelers and those, it's a wait and see approach, I think, with the Browns. Keep in mind, if the Browns are a hot team, they'll be flexed into that Sunday night position.
Correct.
Probably at least once, maybe twice.
Yeah, and you don't know if changes are made to the schedule by depending on when the Browns and everybody else in the NFL actually get started. There may be some changes also. You can almost flip-flop any week if you had to.
Right now, and that's become easier to do as it's gotten along. But I'm not surprised at all that they have one. Everybody's guaranteed a Thursday game, so you knew they were going to have a Thursday game. Not surprised at all that they have one Monday night game, and I thought it would either be the Ravens or the Giants, if you asked me, which I thought. Those were the two that I thought.
Well, the good news is we don't have to see the color rush uniforms that often.
Good.
And that's always a good thing. All right, you'll be back tomorrow night, 6 to 7.
Yep.
Doug Maurice will join you. That'll be the winners edition. And you got some winners?
We got a lot of Browns to talk about. Interestingly enough, we talked to Dan-labbe about fifth-year options being picked up on rookies. When do you think the last time the Browns picked up a fifth-year option? This is something we'll talk about.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
2013, it was Phil Taylor.
Phil Taylor.
Yep, that's the last rookie that had his fifth-year option picked up by the Browns. That's more of a damning thing about their draft choices than anything you could say.
They didn't have anybody that
they didn't have anybody that was worth picking up the fifth-year option
Great point.
Since 2013.
All right, great job by Dave Bacon and of course Dan-labbe. We'll see you'll see Dave tomorrow night at 6. We'll see Dan Monday night at 6. That'll do it for us. Hope you like what the schedule looks like. Of all the shows I've ever done, this is the most recent.
That's another one. How many